Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. So, episode 106. That's a 1, a 0, and a 6. It's kind of the way all of those big numbers break down. It's a lot of digits these days. It's kind of freaking me out that I have to remember all of these numbers. But we're figuring it out. We're making sure it happens. So, what you're watching right now is Seat Time, the online show for the off-road enthusiasts. We like to call that our new, more professional tagline. But if you will, we just remember, we want you to always enjoy a pint full of awesome. That's kind of the way that it still works. So Seat Time, this is the beer drinking bitch racing show for anybody that wants to talk talk about dirt bikes. Mainly it's kind of the off-road side of things, because that's what I'm good at, you know. I'll talk to anybody about any kind of motorcycle and stuff, but it's the off-road stuff that I do. It's the off-road stuff that I don't mind talking to everybody about for hours on end. We, of course, like to try to keep this show around about an hour. You know, you've got time that you're going to go spend with your family or do something in life. Same with myself, but we still want to make sure we get this in. So we're here for you, and you're here for me, and we're just going to be a happy family. You see that, Steven? That was off the cuff. What happened? All right, so Seat Time. SeatTime.co is the website where you can always find us if you haven't already found us there watching this right now live. Of course, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/SeatTime, and Twitter is SeatTime_Sierra is our Twitter handle. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can find us. You can follow us there. If you just don't like watching, you can listen after the fact on Stitcher and iTunes. You could just go search for Seat Time. Bam, and there we are. And you can listen to us on the races or anything like that. So you can search through all the episodes. I think that's what you guys should do. So, of course, a little bit of house cleaning. Can't say thanks enough to all of our sponsors. Fly Racing, so you go check them out, flyracing.com. Powersport Graphics, so ridepg.com, where we have the discount code of Seat Time. And then, of course, for this episode, our third sponsor is Stillwell Performance. I've got some great stuff to talk about them when we get into their ad a little bit later. And this is all just personal stuff that I'll be talking about. It's by no means scripted. Can't thank them enough. So if you guys didn't notice, I might just happen to be wearing such a badass new quote shirt that we got from one of our awesome guests that we took, or from our awesome fans. We turned it in to a t-shirt, and it is fantastic. If you guys like the design, you can go check out our good friend Brian Vorel at voreldesigns.com. We don't have a lower third for that, but it's VOREL designs.com. He's the gentleman that made the shirt for us. And, yeah, so there it is. Of course, please go buy that. And we don't mean go buy it. What we want you to do is we want you to support us. We're not t-shirt manufacturers by any means. This is just a good way for us to have a little bit of extra Skrilla for things like going to Oklahoma City for gas money to get out there and do the shows, all that kinds of stuff. So seattime.bigcartel.com is where you can go get all of that jazz. If you're not in the chat room, please join us, tlk.io/seattime. Okay, I had just enough Canadian Hunter whiskey to get through that intro. Steven, do you think that I did an okay job?
Yes. All right.
Fantastic. All right. Well, now that I have completely talked too much about things that, don't matter as much as the people that we have on tonight, I would like to introduce our first guest, Mr. Cameron Ishmael. What are you doing tonight, man?
I actually went and saw a movie with Austin's mom.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And no
Austin's place.
No Austin, huh? Just Austin's mom?
And his grandma.
Wow. So you're into older ladies. All right. That's cool.
I try.
Hey, I hear you. When you can't get the younger ones, you might have just tried the other side of the spectrum, right?
Right? They're set. I'll move in with them.
You're like, man, they're old. They can hold down a job. They have a steady paycheck. They already know what other problems are. Nothing crazy is going to come pop up. Right? Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Well, dude, I want to just talk to you a little bit about what's been going on in life. It seems that there's been a lot of crazy changes with bike changing, with just kind of moving around. You got a new job. People that are listening now weren't listening back when you were on the show in episode 47, which was like February 2012. So it's been a while since you've been on the show. So just, break it down, dude. How you been? What's been going down?
Yeah, I started delivering at UPS just a little over a year ago. So I've been driving, and it kind of made life easier. I wasn't working in the hub, working nights, because that screwed up my eating bad. Because I mean, what's open after 10 o'clock at night? Nothing but fast food.
Yes, and and that'll do numbers on you for sure.
And so, that was good. And, I got to hang out with, Cody and Austin because, working nights, I never got to hang out. And we can actually go road bike, mountain bike. I can work out other than by myself. So, that kind of, made me more excited to work out and made it easier. And, the hours work better. I can do stuff during the day. And the only drawback is working Saturdays, especially with Toro, because
Yes.
I didn't even get to practice other than the parade lap Sunday morning, and same with Dad. We both work Saturdays, so we were both kind of a little disadvantaged, but I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's good to have money in the bank and to have a steady paycheck that you don't have to rely on your sugar mama for, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's cool. That's good. It does mean I know that you were really excited. I remember seeing all the Facebook updates and stuff like that when you kind of moved into the world of out of the hub and into the driver's seat and moving around and delivering packages. So that's been something you feel better about, just kind of like where you're headed, I guess, like with UPS and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because in the hub, none of your supervisors, you didn't know how to become a driver. They don't tell you because they want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And so when I finally got out, I started seeing. I was like, man, they just want to work you in the ground. They don't ever want you to better your career. And driving, it opens up the doors. Because later on when I get to like 40. I'd like to slow down and just become an 18-wheeler driver. All they go do is go from building to building, either pick up a trailer and drop it off, and I mean, that's it. So
you're talking about our friend Roddy Gray? Is that what are you referring to that?
Yeah. Roddy,
that old
Roddy's
man that doesn't do nothing except drive a truck?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that guy. Well, so he's talking about our friend Roddy Gray. We raced enduros with him at TSEC and stuff. He's a crazy dude. He makes fun of us for being younger boys that drive to the races together, and we make fun of him for being him and his older gentleman friends that drive to the races together. So you can only imagine the interesting discussions that we have on Saturday evenings about that. So, so you got things a little bit more stable in the work life. Are you doing any kind of school or anything like that, or is it really just work and racing?
I stopped with my associates last January, and I had I think I have around 87 hours, and I mean I think about going back from time to time, but it just work. Some weeks I'm really busy. Sometimes it slows down to where I'm like, oh, I could go back to school, but with the inconsistency, I don't want to start and then not finish a semester and waste all that money.
Yep.
So it kind of keeps me back.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I have any advice, it's definitely something that you'd want to try to find that stability to figure out, because even if it is just, going towards an associate's that then slowly becomes a bachelor, I think it's something that you do need to kind of work on. We all had our aspirations of being professional dirt bike racers and making a lot of money and being awesome. And I think you could still have that dream, but I know I can't, so I'm glad that I at least had a degree to fall back on to kind of, if nothing else, open doors for me to learn things that I now know and was able to use in life. So, we've got people in the chat room that are like, you need to get your education because it's important. So, do that.
Right?
Yeah. So, I think you should keep doing that. And then I think the biggest, most interesting update as of recent with you is the fact that I could say you're back on a KTM, but that's actually not true because it was only like 12 hours you were on a KTM a couple years ago. So you were on a KTM, a 2013 450, and your dad's on a KTM 450 as well?
Yeah, exactly the same bike, same year, everything.
Nice. Okay, so and you guys did get some, I wouldn't say flack, but there was a lot of interest around when you guys had kind of switched to KTM's. You had swapped to a KTM two-stroke for about a weekend, if even just maybe a Saturday, a couple years ago, and then you went back to your Cowies and stuff, and then now you're back on KTM's, and it looks like you're there at least longer than just a Saturday. So what's kind of been the decision making there? Why have you decided to try it out again, and obviously you've decided to stick with it this time?
Well, I was kind of, I loved my Cowies before, but this last 12, it just, I don't know, something always kind of felt off on it. And the way the tracks were becoming, they weren't quite as fast. And I wasn't able to put the power to the ground like I wanted to or used to. And so I was like, man, I want to try a two-stroke again. And so, me and Dad went up and talked to Todd Tarver and Burt Reynolds. And, I was like, all right, this time, I was like, I don't care what happens. If I get last, if I get first, I was like, I'm not going to go back to the Cowie. I was like, I'm going to commit. And so we did. And, I had to be patient with the two-stroke because it's so different. But, it was a fun switch because, it was something new and I was excited. And I was struggling like from, the first race at Caddo was hard pack. And I was doing everything I could to keep it straight. And I was like, holy crap. And, even at the pit, I had a bad wreck and just, it beat me to death. I was trying not to get frustrated. And then at Iowa Park, I actually had a really good race. And, I had actually got real close to Caleb. He still beat me, but I was like, well, hey, I can at least be competitive. And then the next race, it felt like crap again. And so, I was talking to Bert and I was talking to Ty Howard, and I was like, man, I want to try to get a 450. And so, they were trying to find one that we could get. And I'd rode Bert's at Iowa Park, and I liked it. So I was like, I want to, I want to have a 250. I want to have a 450. And so we got one, and I went to Stories TCCRA, and I did my first lap with Troy on my 250. And I was like, man, this feels like crap. The dirt was perfect. The track couldn't have been any better. And, I can't even hardly ride.
Yeah.
And so I went back to camp. I grabbed the 450. Dad's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going. We hadn't even set the sag or nothing. And I went and did a lap, and I was like, okay, I'm racing this bike. And so we set the sag, and I did one more lap. And I was like, yeah, I'm racing this. So, then we put handguards on it and put my bibs in. And stock suspension, but it was really good because that XC stuff, it's, I guess, softer valving than I'm used to on the SX. And so, the whole race, I could put it wherever I wanted it. And, I finally won one. It was the last one, but I was like, hey, I'm going out on a win. I'm happy. The 450, I was like, that's where my comfort's at. So I at least got it figured out by the end.
Yeah. So it definitely sounds like you've kind of, the way that you've developed, you're more of a four-stroke rider. But now that you're kind of used to the KTM 450, what are some of the big differences that you've noticed coming from that KX 450 to the KTM 450?
A lot of people, they had me freaked out about the weight. They're like, oh, it's so top heavy because of, the different engine. I'm like, it's a little heavier than the Cowie, but I think because of that, it turns better. I can stick a corner on the inside better than I did on my Cowie. And the biggest thing to me is the power, because, the Cowies are always fast. And I'd have to clutch it to keep the front wheel on the ground, where the KTM, it's a nice smooth power delivery, so I can be more aggressive and really hammer down and not have to worry about wheeling or none of that. It goes.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. And, yeah, go ahead.
We sent it to Factory Connection a few weeks ago, and the valving, they did it differently than my Cowie. Like everything, my compression was at 20, where on my Cowie it was at 14 for all the stock settings. I was like, don't worry about it. It's a different bike. Don't let it mentally mess you up. Yep. And, I went Road River Valley, and, they dialed it in. It was awesome. So I was happy about that because I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Different bike, but it's a Cadillac.
That's awesome. And Do you think there's anything? Were any of the bikes that you were on when you were trying some of these KTM's were they still PDS, or were all of them fairly new enough to where they were like the XCs that have had linkage?
Oh, they were all linkage.
All linkage.
Because yeah, I had my 250 SX was a 14.
Okay.
So, and the 213 XCFs, they have linkage as well. I've heard some people they don't like it, but I mean, the Cowies have always had linkage, so I'm like, well, I really don't know the difference, so let's go.
Yeah, for sure. I have the 2013 300 XC. We got it last year, and we kind of did the whole seat time photo shoot with it, with all of the Brella babes and stuff. I mean, who doesn't like a couple fantastically looking women in bikinis with dirt bikes, right? Raise your hand, everybody. Okay. And we did that, and I've honestly struggled with that bike for a long time, and I didn't realize that I was struggling, like that I was like, oh my gosh, how do I figure this out? And it wasn't until I just sent my suspension off and got it back for the first time I've ever had it like professionally gotten essentially works suspension, like the pro valving done, and a lot of their personal aftermarket parts that I got it back, put it on the bike, set the sag, and went out and rode it. And without even touching anything, I instantly felt so much more comfortable on that bike. And I had been on a 2009 250 XC where it still had PDS. So I had never found a way to make, I guess what I was trying to do was make my 2013 feel like my 2009. And I just never could do that. Now, not to say that this suspension makes my bike feel like it's a PDS, but it makes me feel so much more comfortable on the newer frame and the newer geometry and things like that honestly, like some of those open sections, I've never felt so comfortable going so fast. Now, I know I wasn't going as fast as you guys were in some of that stuff this past weekend, but it's crazy how like those little things that you would never even think of to try and granted, I say little, but suspension is one of the biggest things out there, but I just, that's always so much money. But now that I'm doing seat time and I'm in these situations, I want to have the experience to be able to talk on these points. And it's like, holy crap, I never, ever realized that how much of a difference it really does make to go to that top level performance, when it comes to suspension. So it makes a hell of a big difference.
Oh, definitely, because I mean, you can go to feeling like, oh, that felt fast, and you get on, something like yours, suspension's done, and you can hit it completely different, and you're like, wow, I thought I was going fast, and there'll be little dips and stuff that you would think, oh, I need to slow down, and now you can hammer down and just do a little wheelie and know that it's not going to kick you, and you're going to stay straight.
Yeah.
It gives you that confidence, and I mean, that definitely changes the game a lot.
Yeah. I wish I had we've been really busy at work just these past 2 days, so I didn't have a chance. I wanted to try to get some of my helmet cam footage prepared so we could actually play it tonight from the track this past weekend. And I know that I'd love to hear your opinion on that, but one of the things that I thought was really neat is we came across and they had this kind of what I call a mogul field, because we called them moguls back in Louisiana just because it was just these up and down, and when you got on top, they had these kind of just cool little ravines that they dipped in and out of. And I was just hitting those things, and I was like, cool, it's like a dirt jump field. Like, I just wanted to make it into a bunch of doubles. And I've never, ever gone, you know what? If I come up short, my suspension's got it. Ever. Like, it's just, I've never thought like that. And it just instantly, I had the confidence to think like that. And so it was so cool to have that kind of that kind of a confidence. I don't know. It's like, I've never been there, so it was just really interesting to have.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I think I know the section you're talking about. It's real close to where the parking was.
Yep, that's the one.
And if you're done with parking, you do that little straightaway, and you're pretty much running right next to the road. And there was like a 15-foot little roller, and then you went up, and it rolled back flat. And Cody had told me Saturday he doubled it. And he quit doing it because it got all cupped out. And I looked at it the first lap, and I was like, yeah, that's stupid. And then the second lap, I guess I was in third, and I was feeling really good. And I came around there just like third gear wide open and did it, and, completely straight. And I was like, sweet, that's 2.5 seconds a lap right there. So, I mean, I did it the next 4 laps. And I mean, it's just one of those things you don't think about it. And then you're just like, all right, go for it. And,
Yeah.
it worked.
And then, like, yeah, like you say, it just felt so right. You're like, oh, that was nothing. And so now you can kind of do it all over again. So it's weird how those little tiny confidence boosters work for you. So I do want to spend some time talking about the race this past weekend. I don't think Toro gets enough credit. I wish there was more awesome winter series like this out there. We could get more coverage for people and really just kind of keep the racing going. And I think that's what Toro wanted to do so long ago. And, so what did you think? We had round 1, Toro season, started it off. And obviously you won. You and Drew were kind of going at it there at the end, Drew Higgins. But just kind of give me your whole synopsis on the weekend and the track.
Man, the track, I think that was the best it's ever been at Bridgeport. We've had a few TCCRAs out there, and, we even had a torn or two, and, they were always fun, but, I mean, this one, it flowed better. I mean, it was some of the same single track, but, I mean, the changes they made, the fields are always fun. And, they took out that back section. I was trying real hard to get put back in before the race. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that was fast.
And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that's where Garrison crashed. I mean, I was trying to talk to people and find out because I heard he hit a tree. And I thought it was at that little chicane where they thought was safer. But, I mean, the track, I mean, I just loved it. It did get rough, really rough, actually. Like, the 4th lap, I was just like, okay, my suspension is no longer soaking it. I mean, like, my biceps and shoulders were sore because they were getting shook so much. I was like, I can't be the only one that's feeling this way. And, but, man, I was good with the start because, with the button, I was like, Dad got a 4th place start. So I was like, hey, that worked for me. And luckily, I started 4th too. And I was surprised how dusty it was because me and Dylan both at the end of the first real long straightaway, we almost missed the left into the little rain ruts. Like we were so far left, we had to come back to the right just before the corner. And we got a few miles in, and Dylan didn't make the log. So, Hayden actually passed me. And then we went around, and I was following Hayden. And, I was kind of mad at the time. I was like, dang, I just got passed. But he was showing me lines that, I didn't see. And I was like, wow, I didn't even, I'm looking over left, and you could drop down over here to the right. And, I didn't even see that. So it was actually a good thing because, my second lap I got going, got around Hayden, and I could see Caleb, way ahead, probably like 30 seconds. And I could see Drew, roughly probably still 20 seconds ahead. And towards the 3rd lap, I could really see Drew, and he started looking back, and I was like, okay, I got it now. And I came into the chute right behind him, and I guess Caleb had pitted. And I didn't see him turn off because they said he spun his bib off.
Oh, and yeah, I heard about that.
I come around like where the flat tires were that we just went around, and Dad's holding up the number 1. I was like, what? So, I started hauling, and I'd opened up a little gap on Drew, and then I was doing that straightaway around the blue line up and downhill where the mud ruts were. And I don't even know what happened. Like, I just grabbed the front brake to stop, and next thing I know, I'm sliding on the rocks. And Drew actually stopped. He's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, go, go, go. And, I get up, and my left palm was, like, I guess I bruised it really deep because, I couldn't even grip. I was just holding on with my fingers. And I was like, man, I just let Drew win. I could feel the blood dripping down my arm, and I was like, God, this sucks. And I'm riding, and I started seeing him, so I was like, okay, so, adrenaline kicked in, and he pit, and I was like, okay, and I missed my parents, or my dad and Clay, and so I went, I was right behind him, and I ended up getting him at there was that stair-step hill all the way in the back by the fence, and I always was doing the hill to the right, and I came out ahead of him, and, I was just going for it from there. And he he stuck me like glue. I mean, Drew was riding awesome. I was like, no mistakes. And, I was just trying to pick my lines good because I didn't have that strength in my hand. I was like, okay, I can't hit these rocks exactly how I want.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I could just hear him back there. I'd kind of get ahead with some lappers, and then I'd hit some, and he'd get right there. I mean, it was just fun battling with him because, I mean, that was a really good ride for him. So
yeah.
It was a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you guys that you had even more of a fantastic race than what we could see from kind of trying to try to catch up with you guys. It was neat for me because, I did 4 laps. I didn't put in a 5th lap. I got what I thought was just a front flat. And then, of course, when I get there and I'm talking with everybody, I was like, man, it's my first race back. My first cross-country race. I feel fantastic. I had 4 great laps. I was in second place. I was, keeping him in sight, if you will. And I'd kind of catch up and lose him. But, and then I got that front flat, and I was just kind of like, dude. Okay, and I just didn't let it bother me. I was like, you've had so much fun. You're safe. You're totally healthy. If you could go out there maybe and try to catch him, but it's like, what's it going to cost you? It's not worth it right now. Like, if it's the end of the season and you're in the points chase, sure, it's worth it. But right now, it's like, oh, dude, I'm not dinging up a rim or something stupid just for this, because those are some serious rocks that we had to deal with.
I was filling them through the bib.
So, yeah. So, man, I was just like, all right, dude, cool. So I pulled over. And James is trying to talk me into going back out there. He's like, I'd never do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you shut your face. I was like, shut up, James. Because he was talking to me so bad, man. I was like, no, really, I'm in a good place about this. And that's when I think, what was it? It was Rick Nolan comes up and goes, man, you stopped because of that rear flat tire? And I was like, no, because of the front. He goes, I guess you didn't see the one in the back. So I actually had 2 flats. But that's right when you and Drew came by to start your 6th lap. Like, because I had been hanging out, I guess, for about 10 minutes at that point. Oh, my gosh, dude, you guys look like you were – it was so awesome. And then you guys, when you pitted together like you were talking about, that was so intense because it looked like Drew was going to pass you there, but he had to pit too. So it was so cool to see you guys and stuff. Oh, it was – and Drew, I don't think, had a dry brake. So you could tell that, like, he had to stop and twist off his cap while somebody else ran over and poured, and then he had to twist it back on, so –
well, see, he pit the lap before when I came out right behind him. So, I expected him to pass me there, but I guess they only put in like a quarter of a gallon. So he had to pit again. And,
oh, okay.
I don't have a quick fill because, that's a 2.6, but we have a stock tank quick fill. But, I mean, luckily Clay Smith is really quick at taking off the cap.
Okay, yeah, because it honestly, it looked like your dad was dumping and the other guy ran over. And like you said, I mean, he was so fast about it. It looked like he just grabbed the zip tie, on your typical quick fill cover and boop, like so.
Oh, no, he got the cap off that quick.
That guy
I told him I'd buy his lunch next race.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no. And I was like, okay, ice cream.
Yeah, I'll buy your ice cream. We definitely need to take wrist movement examples from that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's got it down.
Yeah. All you married folk, we'll get his personal email from you, and we'll get notes and we'll send them out. Seat time notes that come out on Thursday. I think that might be a whole nother email blast we'll put out there. Well, I know it sounds stupid, but I had a blast. I have not. I mean, what was it? I did Oklahoma City, the National Enduro out there 2 weeks ago. Had so much fun riding that Sherco 300, and then now I had a chance to come out to this Toro race. Now, I was on my own bike, so I felt a little bit more comfortable, but then I got on that suspension and just felt, it's like, oh my gosh. It was like, that track kicked ass. So I'm very excited for the series to be back. I'm actually really motivated now because it's kind of like, all right, cool. You know what? You're not in such a bad place than I thought I was. Like, I was like, that guy Greg Pippin has got some damn speed, and I need to find a little bit more because, it was when I started making those small mistakes when he could easily leave me. So I was like, okay, all right, I gotta figure that out. And I know too, I have to work on my ability to sprint well and then recover quickly. Because there's those times where I'd maybe make a mistake and my heart rate would get up, and I could tell right off the bat that I was just trying to breathe. I just couldn't breathe. So I wasn't, obviously my conditioning's way off and stuff, but man, I was like, I came home, driving home, I was like, okay. I was like, I missed this. I'm excited again. This shit is awesome. Now I remember why I do this. Like, I was like, I called my dad. I was like, dude, we've got to keep making back to more races together. I miss you. But, you know, it was so awesome to have such a fantastic weekend, you know, and I haven't seen you guys, you know, all the cross country guys in so long. So it was really great. I enjoyed it. Okay. I might be tearing up. Hold on.
That's awesome.
Nah, you guys are awesome, man. It was a great time. So, I wanted to know, obviously we're talking about racing and formats and all that kinds of stuff. Is there anything have you seen what's been going on in the Northeast with the J-Day format?
No, I have seen some videos, and it makes me really angry because they look like the funnest races ever.
Okay, well that's kind of my question, is because of the fact that I just wanted to know if you think there's anything to that. You know, you are a local pro who is a top level local pro in our local cross country enduro kind of series and stuff like that. You go to a couple regionals and you do extremely well, you know, but you're watching that, and does it give you any kind of go, I kind of wish that stuff like that happened around here?
No, I mean, definitely, because I mean it looks like a lot of fun, and I mean, you know, they're doing a bunch of laps, but I mean it's just a different style race, and I mean, I think it would definitely be possible to have one around here if we just, you know, got enough people together to do it.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, I think that when we had John Day on the show, when we were talking with him, I was like, hey, dude, I was like, here's my one thing. I was like, you have epic terrain up there, and they get a ton of rain. So their moisture content in the ground is, like, always phenomenal. I was like, you come south, like southwest, even just a little, I was like, you don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Like, I think you'd have to do so much work to find good properties, because in his case, it's a privately run series. You know, it's not the way that we do it here. He goes and makes all the tracks. He does all the publicity. He does all the, you know, staffing on his own, things like that. So it's run a little bit different than a lot of the series in Texas, but I still think it would be an interesting. I don't know. Like, one of the things I mentioned is if maybe Toro could do that, like on Saturdays, opposed to have. Because Toro wants to be the more technical series, you know, like a little bit less practice, a little bit tougher tracks, things like that, a little bit longer races. Why not say, okay, we'll just have one parade lap, and that gives everybody a chance. That's an equal opportunity chance for everybody at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever to go get their one lap in. But on Saturday, we have some kind of J-Day style, you know, race where it's a 30 to 40 minute moto of maybe a 3 to 4 mile track, but it's not like a 3 to 4 mile grass track. It's like, let's make a fun, wide, lot of rubbing racing type of, you know, 3 to 4 mile track that's right by parking, so everybody can see all the action.
So you're talking about a separate track from the track we'd be racing at Toro, though?
Yes, or it could be a portion of it. Because it
like
could be
4 miles.
Right, and it's just they just loop it in a certain way. So I mean, and I know you help out. Your dad is a promoter as well, and you help out with his. So you know, I mean, is there any kind of thought to that? I mean, I know it can't happen this year because it's not in the rule book and all that stuff, but maybe possibly for next year.
I mean, I think that would be a great idea because I mean, you know, there's some people that only do go out on Saturdays and practice, and it would give them a chance to race and. You know, it would give other people a chance, hey, if you want more practice, go do this race. And, you know, that would even help only doing a 40-minute race, you know, that would help with your sprinting, whether you think it does or not. Like when I go do motocross, I mean, it does because the intensity is so much higher. You're not setting a pace, you know, you're going all out. So, I mean, that would, you know, it would kind of give you like 2 different races in one weekend at one place.
Yeah, and I think too, like there could be a whole thing about it where it's like it could be a literal 2 payouts for pros. You know, if there's a Saturday race, it may not be 2 of the same caliber type payouts, but it could at least still be 2 payouts.
Right, gas money.
Yeah, gas money if nothing else. And I know that's not the agenda. You know, I mean, in like of a weekend, if you will, like it's not just to put on a race for pros to make money. I mean, that's sometimes the agenda if you want your race to get bigger. because that's the only way you're going to attract, national and outside regional talent is money. You know what I mean? And I get that. That's fine. But that's not what we're trying to do with these series. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the crazy thing is even money doesn't really do it, because, I mean, back in the day when Dad did Cleburne and we got DeMuth to come out, we had to pay to get him out there. And, at Malakoff, we had like I think it was a $2,500 pro purse, and, I mean, no one special showed up. And so, promoters are like, what's the point of getting a huge purse if you're not going to get people? But, I mean, changing what you're saying, adding like a JDA style race Saturday, that might stick out to some, like, hey, that looks like fun. That's different. So, because it's real cool having Garrison here. Cause poor Drew told me at Pullville, he's like, hey, do you know Bobby Garrison? I'm like, Bobby Garrison's not out here. He's like, yeah, he is. Caleb told me. I'm like, Caleb, don't even listen to Caleb. He's full of it. And then I go around the corner and I see Caleb. I'm like, dude, why are you messing with Drew like that? No, he's here. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And so, I felt bad for poking at Drew. And, sure enough, there he was.
Yep. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Bobby Garrison, the works racer, yes, from out west, he has actually moved to Fort Worth, Texas. His wife got a new job. Well, not a new job. Her job transferred her to Texas, and obviously being married to her and in love with her, and he has now followed her to Texas. And he still has his works race bike, I believe an enduro cross bike, in California, so that way he can make it back easily for those races. But he is going to be continuing to do a lot of Texas races. So I think that's awesome, because that is going to be able to give a little bit of more notoriety to some of the races that go on down here in the Mid-Central, if you will. And then, of course, it's going to give you guys a hell of a lot more competition. Not me, you.
No, I'm excited for it, because, other people are like, oh, man, Garrison's here. And I'm like, I think it's awesome because, someone of that caliber you can learn from. Because, I mean, they're obviously on another level than we are, especially the races they're doing. So, I mean, they see things completely different than you do. And so, riding with them, following them, it opens your eyes up to a different way of riding. And, I mean, it's going to make you a better rider.
Agreed. Well, cool. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm not going to lie, we went a little bit over, but we got into this weekend, and like I said, I teared up. But I felt good about it. Hey?
It was an awesome weekend.
I didn't really, but still, I thought about it. Maybe, I might have leaked from another orifice, but hey.
Let's not go into that.
All this fun race talk just gets me going, buddy! And maybe some of the Canadian whiskey, or whatever.
Probably.
It's always a good time. Well, dude, Cameron, if anybody out there wants to learn a little bit more about you and socially would like to interact with you, are there ways that they could possibly do that?
I don't use the Twitter, but I'm on Facebook, and I'm at the races, and I mean, most people have my number, or they can get it from Austin or Cody. So that's a way.
All right, so for anybody outside of Texas, how are they going to find you?
Facebook.
Cameron Ishmael.
You can creep me on Facebook.
That sounds dirty, and you know how I do it. I'm in. I'll creep in on anybody. Well, cool, dude. Thanks for taking the time. Sorry we didn't get the video going, but hey, that's why we got to tech solve some problems beforehand, opposed to just try to wing it right at the end, right?
I'll take full blame. It's my bad.
Boom! No worries. Well, dude, take it easy. And I am not going to be at the next Toro, unfortunately. My father is very, very excited about the Formula One race coming, being in Texas for a while. So he and I are going to go enjoy that and the father-son duo. But I will be at the third one. So. Okay,
you're missing out at Thackerville.
I know how good a track that is. I know.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no worries. Just keep it on the stopper and have fun, all right?
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, dude, we'll talk soon. All right, so Cameron Ishmael, awesome pro, local Texas dude. Really appreciate him being on. And, of course, you guys can go find him on Facebook, as he would say. Just search for Cameron Ishmael. Before we kind of go over to our next guest, Jay Sallstrom. I'm probably going to screw that up, but I'm going to ask him about it in a second here. He's going to come on. I, of course, want to say thank you much to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. So it's winter. Technically, it's winter. It's still kind of warm here in Texas. But one of the things about winter is you have to think about all the things that get cold. And when you're a little person like myself with these little tiny woman hands, you have to worry about the fact that they get cold really, really easy. And so Fly now has a series of gloves out that are called their Tidal gloves. They as well have their 907 cold weather gloves, which are great, but they have even a better Tidal glove out now, which is more winter oriented. And of course they have a lot of snowmobile guys that run these and a lot of guys that do a lot of, in the snow type situations. But what's great is that you can get these for motorcycle. You're still going to be able to ride them, have fun. They have short and long, which with the short and long I think is cool because if you're not in the snow, you can get the short. If you're in the snow, get the long. It's going to help keep the snow out in case you do what I do a lot, and which would be eat it. Nobody likes to do it, but it happens, and we just have a good time. We keep going. So go check out more about those gloves at flyracing.com, and you can email Dale, tell him I said hi, and that he's awesome, and we appreciate their support of Seat Time. Right? Dig it. All right, so we've got our second guest. We've got video, and he looks just as handsome as all of his pictures led up to be. So, Mr. J, how is your evening going, kind sir?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Dude, good. I'm halfway through my second glass of Canadian Hunter whiskey and Diet Coke, and it's Seat Time, buddy. Tuesday night in Texas. Where are you? You're in Minnesota?
Minnesota, yep. Mankato, Minnesota.
Minnesota. So what are the 3 words that you say the most strange to somebody from Texas?
God, I don't even know.
That sounded good in itself. I don't even know. No,
I lived down in Texas for a little bit. I started to say y'all. I lived there for like 6 months, and within 2 weeks, I was saying y'all to everybody.
Yeah, you're like, I said y'all. I got a cowboy hat and a pair of cowboy boots, and it's like, I don't know why, but I just did. You're like, shit kickers. It's a good time. Well, what did you come down to Texas for 6 months for?
I went down there to ride over the winter. My sister lived down in Austin.
Yeah.
So I moved down there and grabbed a couple jobs and just did some riding down there over the winter, and then came back to Minnesota about April.
Dude, you got to do that again during the winter because we have our awesome winter TORO series up here in North Texas. And
I totally would if I could.
Yeah.
Now I just lost my free place to stay. She moved to Denver now, so.
I would go to Colorado. Screw Texas. Go to Colorado. Hey, whatever, man. That's fine with me. I'm going to just come visit you guys and stay with your sister in Denver. So I'll get out of Texas pretty quick. All right. So I want to know, first off, how bad. I'm going to say your last name, and you can judge me on how bad I screwed up. You ready?
All right.
J. Sallstrom.
That's close. Sallstrom.
Sallstrom. It's like Salisbury steak.
Absolutely.
Sure. You're like, why not? All right. So, Jay Sallstrom, we want you to tell us how badass it is to be such a wicked cool uphill racer. Because that's all you do is you go uphill really damn fast on scary machines that scare the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. I watch these YouTube videos on these nitromethane bikes, and it's like, it's intense, dude. I don't know. That's like an extreme sport that I don't think I need to be involved in, but I want to watch.
Yeah, we get going pretty fast, pretty quick, and it's pretty much just like your crotch rocket motor that you see, the crotch rockets that you see on the road, and then we extend them out, and throw nitro to them, and they're just crazy fast.
Yeah, and okay, give us a little bit of a breakdown because you are a current champion in the extreme class. Is that correct?
Unlimited class.
Unlimited class. Okay, and then within the unlimited class is when it's called the unlimited class. That's broken down by motor? Is that correct?
Yeah, by CC. So it's 700 CCs and up.
Okay, and so you're the current champion for 2013 in the unlimited class, but you got second in the extreme class.
Yep. The extreme class is 451 to 700 CCs.
Okay. So bikes that I would never throw a leg over or consider putting nitro in, you kicked ass on.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much. All right. So here's the one thing I want you to kind of break down for me is I noticed. I guess my whole thing is I can remember watching on any Sunday. You know, we've all seen the video of Malcolm Stewart, the Widowmaker, riding that stock bike uphill, and that mountain climb, that experience of hill climbing looks so different from what you would see nowadays in hill climbing. Nowadays, it seems like it's so much more of a stair-step approach with you guys going up. So I wanted to know if you could explain to me kind of that if there has been a progression, because obviously my knowledge is extremely limited throughout the time on this, but how it's kind of progressed, the way that you guys race, essentially these hill climbs.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the stuff on the East Coast is all a lot faster pace, and like you said, kind of that stair step, jump to jump, and a lot of the West Coast stuff, like where the Widowmaker is, like what you're talking about, that's just kind of a climb to the top, and a lot of guys will go there, and you might only have a handful, 5 or 10 guys that are going to make it all the way over.
Okay.
So, on the East Coast, majority of the guys are going to get over, but it's the speed and how fast you can get over is what kind of we're all about on the East Coast.
Okay, so for you guys with that, when I see the ones that are a little bit more of the stair step approach, those might be not as difficult in the sense of making it to the top, but it's more difficult in the sense of trying to get to the top at the fastest speed possible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, from bottom to top, you're charging the whole time. So I mean, you're on it all the way to the top. Where on the East Coast, on some it's a little bit harder to get up. You might purposely go slow in one section and then try to get a drive in another section. And
Yep.
And work your way up instead of bonsaiing it and screwing up and then going down. So it's a little bit of a different approach, East versus West. So, but yeah, East Coast, we're a lot about the speed and charging for the win.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Amanda Campbell, who is kind of the helper for me, who's got me in touch with you guys and stuff like that. She was running the AMA Pro Hill Climbing Twitter account. She reached out and she's given me a lot of great information and sent me a bunch of YouTube links so I could kind of watch and learn. And I'm like, okay, no, I've seen a bunch of this. I enjoy this. This is awesome shit. Hell yeah, I want to talk to the guy. One of the things that kind of blew my mind is when they do a lot of the guys' video and they'll pan back. I mean, and there are a crap ton of people just hanging out. I mean, be it on a hillside, whatever is behind this big hill that you guys are climbing up. There's always a crap ton of people out there watching these events. Are these participants at any means, or are these just people that are like spectators that are coming out and enjoying the day, watching you guys rev the shit out of these bikes?
Those are all pretty much spectators. We get our guys that follow the series, that race the series, and we have probably from 20 to 25 guys in each class, and there's probably 15 or 20 of them that definitely follow the whole series and hit every race. But yeah, all those people that you're seeing out in the crowd or whatever, they're all people that showed up and came to watch and party and grab some food and watch us throw down.
Dig it. Yeah, there was one, I can't remember, like I said, she sent me quite a few videos, so I was kind of clicking through the links, watching all the videos, and there was one where, I mean, they had like a motorcycle parking lot. I mean, it was just all street bikes, just dudes that had ridden, women, people of, street bike riders riding their bikes in, and I was like, that is a shit ton of bikes. I mean, they're just like, holy crap. We get a handful of guys that'll come to some of our cross-country races and enduros and stuff just to watch on their bikes. So that's pretty cool that you guys kind of pull in that many spectators. I mean, that's pretty bitchin'. We did have a question from the chat room. In typical fashion, our buddy Zach Hubert, he wanted to know, or not, he doesn't always want to know about money, but he has a lot of questions. He said, is there a lot of money in hill climbing? Because it seems like the backers that are there are very, influential in the sport. So he's kind of wondering how that kind of breaks down.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not the scale of money like you see in motocross and supercross and things like that. It's not even close. But for me to travel from Minnesota out east every weekend or whenever we race or whatever. You know, for me, I got to be pretty much on the podium in both classes to make it work. We have a minimum purse for everywhere we go, so we're guaranteed. It's just under $1,000 to win, and then as more people come through the gate, as far as spectator goes, I think it's like right around 1,700 people, and then after that, we get a percentage through the gate, so we get what we call an overage. So as more, you know, people pour through the gate, we get paid a little bit better.
So that is actually a fantastic incentive, because that's a way to get like somebody like myself who, I mean, I'm not going out as a pro trying to make money, but if I were, and it's like, you know, every 10% more over a certain number means that I get a percentage more of that kind of money coming in, then if, of course, I'm going to try to get, you know, more and more people to those races. That's awesome. How long has that kind of incentive been going on for you guys? Is that new, or has that been there for a while?
I think it's been there for a while. I've been doing this since 2010. I'm not exactly sure what they did in the past, but I think that's kind of been the normal thing for quite a while now. So, I mean, it's kind of nice for us. We can get into what we're guaranteed to get, you know. But, you know, we like to see the crowds come, and, you know, the more people, the more money we're bringing home.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really smart. We already have, I noticed we do have one promoter for a race in the chat room right now, and he already says that's a great idea, and the ... means that he is going, I think I'm going to have to implement something like that for one of my races. Well, cool. Okay, you said you got into this about 2010. I would imagine that in the past 3 years, you didn't just start riding dirt bikes. So by get into this by 2010, you kind of mean that's kind of when you got into hill climbing, or so what kind of got you into dirt biking in the beginning?
Well, I started riding when I was 4, and we were part of a club here in Mankato, Minnesota. My dad was a part of that, and they have a motocross track and 80 acres of trails, and then they also had an amateur hill climb that they put on. So, you know, I watched that for a little bit when I was younger, and we tried it when I was like 9, and we did all right. And then, you know, we kept doing it. We followed the whole amateur series, and, you know, we started winning, and, you know, it's like anything else. You start winning, and it gets addicting.
Yep.
And so then we did that, and by 2009, I had 5 amateur national titles, and then 2010, a guy on the Dr. Bob racing team, he got hurt, and my buddy was racing on the team out of Rochester, Minnesota, and his dad kind of helped do the legwork to get me the opportunity to ride that bike for the injured rider. And then, you know, I got the phone call and got the opportunity to ride halfway through their season.
Man, well, that's awesome, and it seems like it's been paying off because of the fact that you're the national champ right now in the ultimate class, and obviously extremely close to getting it in the extreme class. So, tell me a little bit about this Dr. Bob racing team, because as I said, I remember us sitting down, we would record whatever channel. It's like, oh yeah, like say I do Lucas Oil. You know, Lucas Oil always records every dirt bike race or whatever. Well, I remember there being something, and we got a bunch of hill climbs. So tell me more about this Dr. Bob, because I've seen a lot about his team all over the place in these hill climbs.
Yeah, he's the guy behind all the, you know, the Yamahas that race in the AMA Pro Series, and he's been doing it for you know 20 some years, I believe, in the pro stuff, and probably even longer than that. And you know, he just has been at the top of the game for so long, and now he's got, I believe, 18 national pro titles, and you know, he's been kind of the top team this whole time, and I'm glad I could get 2 for him.
Yeah. So
I got one in.
Go ahead.
So I won one in 2011, and then I got one in 2013.
Man,
fighting for him.
That's pretty wicked. And then 2010, obviously, is when you had a chance to kind of throw a leg over one of his bikes and prove to him that you could do it. I mean, that's pretty awesome to see that, you know, being able to have that opportunity has really showcased how good of a rider you are and how much you can focus and kind of, you know, essentially proof is in the pudding type of stuff. How your bikes are crazy. Like, I mean, I've looked at the pictures of the Dr. Bob's Hillclimb machines. They are extremely specific dirt bikes for this, this type of hill climbing. Can you kind of talk me and then us kind of through a lot of the little stuff that you guys work through on a day-to-day kind of training basis that's really specific to these bikes that what goes through into making these hill climb machines?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely not a bike you can just walk into the bike shop and buy. We try to get a hold of some motors first, and then pretty much from the neck down it's all custom. So, Bob, he's got 5 nitro bikes. He's built all 5 of them, and like I ride a Yamaha R6 and the Yamaha R1, and then we got to go in and beefing up all the motors so they can all handle the nitro, because the nitro's so vicious in there. And riding a nitro bike it's just like an explosion. When you drop the clutch, you're going somewhere. If you're not ready, that bike's going and you're staying there. So and then we stretch them out, so they don't wheelie so bad going up the hill with all that power. And then we throw chains on the back tires. So we'll use like an ice tire, and then we'll throw baler chain across the tires, and that's where we get all our traction. And chains is just crazy traction pretty much everywhere we go. When we land off a jump and we turn it on, it's instant pull. That wheel seems like it never spins.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was the thing that I was looking at these pictures, and I think it probably was about 4 to 5 bikes that I saw lined up in most of these pictures. And the ultra long, extremely long swing arms that you guys have on there. In the time that you've been doing this, as more and more power has come out of these engines, and has been transferred to these rear wheels, I mean, I would imagine that this is the case, but are you seeing the swing arms just getting longer and longer and longer to kind of help keep it from being able to lift that front end so much?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much have found a good, starting point where we can go to a lot of these races and our length will stay the same. But, I've had first rides where I've come down and, we've all agreed where, hey, I can't keep the front end down. Let's lengthen it or do a couple teeth different gearing change. And, these bikes are so powerful. We do a 2-teeth or a 4-teeth gearing change. It's like it doesn't even matter what it is. It's just going to pull it no matter what. It's how fast do you want to go? And I mean, you can build a bike to go faster than hell, but you got to be able to control it.
So talk me through, okay, because it's funny because we got a bunch of people in the chat room. They were like, I really want to do this. The other guys are like, that's stupid. I don't want to do it. But I mean, I'm like, I kind of have the itch to do it, but at the same time, it's like just watching on YouTube these nitro bikes. I mean, there should be flame coming out of the back of these things. I mean, that's how badass they sound. But it's like, kind of try to talk me through the how it would be that first time that you're just like, okay, you have to commit, obviously. I mean, you just no non-committal to this, because if you're not committed, the bike's going to fly out from your hands like that. So, but beyond just being committed, like, what is what does it take to hang on to that shit and just go?
Yeah, I mean, like the first time I ever rode one of his bikes was in New York, and I never had no test run, no hole shot ever, and I had to get on the line for my first ride. It was just like, okay, this bike's just pinging pretty high up in the R's because you run the idle a little bit higher to keep them lit. Then say your normal 450, where it's just kind of barely idling over before it kills. But I rode open bikes in amateurs. I have a CBR 1000R that I rode as an amateur just on pump gas, and so that gave me some experience on that kind of power. But then the nitro, going from from gas to nitro, is just way different. And I got on that bike and I looked behind me. I'm like, Jesus, this thing is just longer than hell. And I'm thinking, okay, just let that go and just ride like I know how. And I went into it with with confidence, and rode like I knew how, and it was actually sweet because the guy that won that race out in New York the prior year, he's like God out there, and so he went over and set the new fastest time, and then I rode for the first time ever, and I beat his time the first round. So everyone was like, Jesus, who the hell is this kid? And I kind of put myself on the map there. So, yeah, they're crazy for sure.
So if we had any kind of advice, would it be to maybe start on the gasoline powered and get at least get a couple runs under our belt before we went to any kind of nitro powered machine?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely start on gas, to start out, because then you can kind of get an idea of, that kind of weight too, flying through the air, and how that's going to land, and all of that, and how that all reacts.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so obviously, specifically to us who run the show and stuff like that, we're Texas. And you're north, just straight up north, and a lot of the races sound like you're kind of northeast for you right now. What's the closest race kind of for us that you could think of? I mean, I'm no geography expert, so we don't have to get specific, but you could guesstimate a little.
Yeah, geez, I would think closest race for you guys would probably be like Ohio, I want to say.
Right? Oh, yeah. Because we can hit Illinois and then head east.
Yeah, I'd say Ohio. I mean, that's the closest race for me. Otherwise, the next closest for me is like Michigan.
There's two places I don't want to go, Minnesota or Michigan. I go to Minnesota. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, we could totally do a hill climb in Texas.
Yeah, just find a hill, and then we'll come.
Yes! That was way simpler than I thought it would be. There was a 2-step process right there. I love it. Well, I'm going to do a quick ad, but I don't want you to go anywhere because we're going to talk about some other stuff that's going on in our sport. Is that cool with you?
That's cool.
All right, dude. Don't hold it hung on really quick. Okay, so obviously, Seat Time. Can't say thanks enough to all of our supporters. One of the great ones, of course, is Powersport Graphics. So Powersport Graphics, you can find them at ridepg.com. The discount code that we have is Seat Time, right? Now, what's really cool is they actually are running a very large promotion right now to where if you were to purchase over $100, you can get your shipping for free. What's even better about that is you can actually use the Seat Time discount code on that order, so you can use it on your order and get the free shipping. So that helps out a lot. And they're doing that, I believe, until the end of the year. We do have some things that we're going to post a little bit later about what they're running up until the end of the year. Obviously, with the holidays coming up, there are going to be kinds of crazy discounts, just everybody wanting to get rid of all their fun stuff. But one of the things that I like about what Powersport Graphics can offer is all the customization of graphics. So you can call them up and you can be like, hey, guys, oh my gosh, these are my logos. I want to put them on my bike. I want it to look cool. And they can do that for you. And that's pretty much what I do, because I don't really know how to describe any of that kinds of stuff. I just say those things. Look cool, badass, I want chicks' tops to fall off. As long as those three things happen with my bike, then I know that they did a pretty good job. And so far, my wife's pregnant, and I'm going faster. So, bam! That's all because of my graphics. So go check out ridepg.com, use the discount code SEATTIME, and obviously, we thank them for their support of Seat Time. Muscles. All right. So, you're riding Yamahas right now with Dr. Bob, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now,
Well,
tell me...
Yeah,
go ahead.
I did last year, but actually as of now, I don't have anything. He actually just came out and said he was retiring.
Oh.
Team owner was. And so we were in talks of, buying a couple of bikes, the two bikes that I was riding. And so we negotiated that idea for a while, and we had another idea we put past him for getting them for a couple of years after, but he ended up at the last race. He just told us the bikes were sold, and so that my last race in October, when I clinched the championship, was actually the last time I was going to ride those bikes.
Oh.
So that kind of puts me in a tough spot right now. I don't have, going into next year, I got nothing right now. So I'm, I've talked to some people, and there's a guy that can, build me bikes, but that all takes money and support. And I got good support behind me, but right now it's just not enough to go out and race. So, and I don't want to go out and go for that 5th or 6th place spot. If I'm going to go and do it, I want to go and win, and 2nd place isn't really an option.
Yeah. Well, what does it mean? Not just, I mean, obviously it means a lot for you as a racer who was under this, under Dr. Bob. What does it mean for the sport? I mean, it sounds like this guy was bringing in a mass amount of knowledge, amazing bikes, and really kind of helping, elevate the competition of the sport. I mean, is it, him not being there with all that, is that going to change things for a lot of people?
I don't think it'll change too much. I mean, there's other teams that are, going just as good, just as strong, and in the Dr. Bob team, we had 3 other riders, and he sold 4 bikes, and 3 of those other riders are going to be riding those bikes. So, for me, he's got 1 extra bike, and we just couldn't come to an agreement on purchasing that bike. So, I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to keep pushing and try to find support so I can go defend that title.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think you got to do that. I mean, it's funny. We were talking with Jason Thomas a couple weeks ago. He's the 2012 XC2 GNCC champion, and then for 2013 he was 2nd place. He'd be moving up to the XC1 class next year for in GNCC, and at the current moment he doesn't have any kind of a program that he feels is, and I don't want to use the word worthy, but that is to the caliber that he knows he needs to compete at the level that he wants to compete in that class. And it's tough. I can imagine, and he's already kind of said, he's like, if that's just kind of what it comes to, then he's like, I'm just not going to race next year. He's like, not that I don't want to, but he's like, I know what it's going to take to compete in the XC1 class at a competitive level for myself, and if I can't get that, then he's like, just what you said. He's like, I don't want to be competing for, 10th through 5th, in that kind of a sense. So yeah, that's got to be really tough.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll just have to wait and see what we can come up with. And like I said, I'm definitely never going to call it quits until it's until we really can't get something together. But it's kind of weird. Growing up and had bikes, all through the amateurs and all that, and I've never been really put in this position where it's like, okay, am I going racing next year, or what does next year entail? And being a champion and all that, knowing you can win, the last thing I want to do is sit on my couch and check the results and knowing I could have won that race that some other kid just won.
Right. All right. So. Scariest moment for you on a hill climb with these machines that sound like raped apes?
Probably one of the worst things that can happen to you is getting behind these bikes. You don't realize how much power they have, and you get behind them. Say you land off a jump, and it's not like other bikes where you might spin a little bit and then take off. You're going to pull right away. So getting stretched out can be kind of scary. I've never had it too bad where I've gotten all out of control and straight armed and stretched out, but I've been straight armed, but I've been able to kind of climb back up on it. So we actually had my teammate. He kind of got stretched out at our last race and had a really gnarly crash and busted up his femur and his hip. So he had surgery and he's healing up. And from what I hear, he's doing all right. So that's good. But probably the worst thing that could happen is get behind these bikes, and when you get behind them, you're trying to hold on, but at the same time you're twisting a handful of throttle. So, and that just makes things worse.
Yes. Was that the dude? Like I said, I've been watching a lot of these videos. Was that the dude that was in the like blue and white Fox gear?
Yep.
Okay. I need to find this video and send it to you guys.
Yeah, that video was probably the most gnarly, most vicious crash I've ever seen.
Yeah, Devil's Staircase Hillclimb 2013, right?
Yep.
Bam. All right, it's going to the chat room. This is the wreck we are referring to the chat room. So yeah, you can pretty much search Devil's Staircase Hillclimb, and you're gonna be able to find it. It's in. Oh wow, how Organia, Ohio. How do you say that?
Orgonia?
Orgonia.
At least that's how I say it. I guess no one's ever told me different.
Right? You're like, hey, dummy, that's totally not the name of our town. Like, no, I live in McConney, Texas. No, it's McKinney. Shut up. That's what I call it. You're like, I'm sorry. Apologize. I didn't mean to get it wrong. Well, with you guys kind of being in such a specific part of, kind of the moto two-wheeled side of the sport, how are you guys kind of, how do you see your sport evolving? And I guess I kind of asked this because of the fact that so many years, in the early 2000s, we kind of saw with the economy crash, everybody kind of was like, oh my gosh, deer in headlights. Things were so good. They didn't, there's money everywhere. They didn't know what to do when that happened. And I think things are a lot better. I think these people are being a little too cautious, and they're still not thinking outside the box enough. But regardless of that, it's like, how do you see, y'all's sport evolving and kind of continuing to stay with it and continuing to evolve?
Yeah, I mean, when it all crashed, that's when it was really bad. But, since I've been in it since 2010 till now, it's only gotten better. And we're getting more recognition. And, that's big thanks to Amanda Campbell and Scott Campbell and like Rob Rebin and, all our officials at the PHA. They work their butts off to kind of give us recognition. And, we've got some sponsors on board that help out. And, I think it's just continuing to get better, and we're getting more followers, and, we get more people out at our races and things like that, and that helps us riders out. We're making more money. So, I think we're doing a lot better than what we were, and I think it's just going to continue to progress.
Is there anybody that's doing any form of live broadcasting at y'all's events?
I think it was 2 years ago, we had MAV TV. MAV TV went to every one of our races, and I think they aired it within a week or two.
That's
live.
That's what it was. It was MAV TV that I watched it on because I was still living with Jason in Vegas, and we would drink beer and watch the hill climbs.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. Well, no, I mean, like, I wonder what it would take to get like guys like Steven and myself out there, because we're doing this live over the internet. We've got the technology. We don't have the equipment per se owned, but it's obviously rentable. I wonder if this would be something, 3 or 4 cameras placed specifically on the hill and ornate locations, if you will, to capture this sport and get it out there to more people.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys should look into that and get out to our events, and we'll try it out.
I think so. All right. Well, cool. Well, dig it. I'm down. Well, dude, Jay, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. I know you didn't have a clue who I was before today, but hey, if there's anybody to ever just go out on a limb for, it's this guy.
Absolutely, I'm totally a fan.
Yeah, I offer free mustache rides, so it's ladies, men. I would say kids. That just get a little weird. So sugar mamas, sugar daddies, anybody, it's really kind of, I only say as long as you're 18 and you can make your own bad decisions, I could be one of those bad decisions.
I'll keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah. Dig it. So it's obviously a social media world. We love it when people are social and tell us all about their social lives. So of all those social places people could find you, where can they find you socially?
I'm on Facebook, the Jay Sallstrom fan page, and then Twitter is at Jay Sallstrom. And that's pretty much where you can find me.
Yes, on the internet. If you search for his middle name, you might find naked pictures. Maybe. No. What'd I do? Am I in trouble?
Did you try it?
Just don't search for my middle name. That's all I'm going to tell people. Because that's where I get all my information from. What was it, the whole thing? Like, you find out your porn star name if you take, like, the street you grew up on. And what was the other thing? There's something. Oh, I wish I remember that because it was really good.
Then your middle name?
Is it? I don't know, because if that's the case, mine would be Roosevelt Edward.
Mine would be terrible.
Yeah. That's not a very good porn name for me, is it? Roosevelt Edward. It's a strong name, but it doesn't sound big, if you know what I mean. Right? No. We're probably going into deep, dark secrets at this point. We probably should stop. All right. Canadian Hunter did a really good job. Jay, we appreciate you being on the show. Good luck. Keep us up to date on anything that comes up. Hopefully you do get something, man. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to have you back on. And please, get Amanda to get in touch with us. That would be really cool if we could figure something out about maybe getting up there to try to broadcast a couple shows.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. We'll have fun out there and tell your lady friend we said hi, okay?
All right. Sounds
Later, dude.
Later.
Peace. All right. So, I do have to say thank you to one of our other supporters, the Seat Time Stillwell Performance. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've been kind of swapping back and forth a little bit. We do have Flex Bars and Stillwell. Flex Bars and Stillwell. Well, this week is Stillwell Performance. Stillwell Performance is the company that did the suspension upgrades for my bike that I got done. And I kind of wanted to keep it a little personal. We were talking about it earlier, but I could tell you right now, I had no idea it was going to be that big of a difference. I called them up, went through their whole process, and then I was like, okay, I've never done this before. I've had one person who's kind of a local, a couple $100, do my suspension, a little bit of revalving, and things like that. And it helped, made a difference, but it did not make the difference that I got from sending my suspension to Stillwell and, the process that I went through with them. I did get the whole new bladder, all the pro valving in the forks, in the shocks. Sure, yes, this was a $1,200 investment that I made towards my motorcycle and myself. But I can tell you right now, the difference that it made was completely worth it. I can tell you now and speak to the fact that is the place to put your money, is definitely in making sure that the suspension that you have on your bike works for you and for the riding that you're doing. What was so great about this experience is that I was able to go onto their website, I was able to fill out the rider form, and then I was able to take a call with Alan Stillwell, and he and I talked for 30 minutes about who I am, how I ride, what's on my bike, why I don't have things on my bike, why I have things on my bike, and then they made adjustments from there. And then when I was able to get the suspension, I got back in touch with him, and I was like, okay, these are the weird things that I'm feeling. He got right back in touch with me. I was able to make adjustments at the track and make it feel even better. Because that's the thing, is you do kind of have to kind of troubleshoot a little bit. I mean, it's that's why you've got the clickers for those micro adjustments between the macro adjustments that they're going to be able to make in the valving with the shim stacks, and then actually changing out the valves into their pro valves. Obviously, the $1,200 mark is the top of the line that they offer with all of their top of the line parts. If that's not what you're looking for, they do have more kind of entry level things. I would ask that you just, at least if nothing else, give them a call. Go to their website. Tell them that you're interested to learn more, because of the fact that those dudes are super cool, awesome. I can't wait to hang out with them in Vegas. It's going to be a fantastic time. I am beyond the moon excited about my suspension. I want to learn more about this. It blows my mind. Being so involved with it from the mountain bike world and now feeling so ignorant to the dirt bike world, I hate it, and I'm super excited about it. So please go check them out, stillwellperformance.com. Can't say thank you enough to all of our sponsors for their help with Seat Time. It's been a great time. Yeah, it's been fun too, because we've had a couple guys. We've had Jason Parsons is actually a big help. He's even in the chat room. I really dig it. Zach Huberty, appreciate it. Mark Weeks, Ryan Kudla, you guys are great. Thanks for being in there, man, and being active. Can't say thank you enough. So this has been Seat Time, episode 106. Had Cameron Ishmael, Jay Sallstrom, Salisbury Steaks, Sallstrom, on this evening. Great guest, a lot of interesting stuff. Cameron and I got into a really good discussion, and I felt like we could have gone for a while. Same thing with Jay. We don't like to keep too many people too long, so we thank you guys for paying attention. Please, seattime.co is where you can find us on the website. Archive all of our sites there, all of our shows, sorry. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. And, of course, we're on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is seattime_CEO if you'd like to follow us. We're on the Instagram of our fun little pictures. Is just Seat Time there. And, of course, YouTube, it's Seat Time CEO if you'd like to follow us there. And remember, if you are on YouTube and you subscribe to our channel, there is a way that you can subscribe to email updates, and YouTube will email you when we upload new footage. And that way you can just watch it right away. You don't have to wait till we post it to the show. I do have to say, remember the quote shirts are for sale. You can go to seattime.bigcartel.com and purchase yours for $20. Of course, shipping is there, but hey, I think it's a great investment. If you'd like to purchase one from a local Texas race, the next one I will be at is round 3 of Toro. Please come do it. Steven, what am I missing? Oh, and Tom McIntosh. I shipped out your shirt last night, dude. It's on the way. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for being in the chat room. We really appreciate your support of Seat Time. Like I said, dude, I support everybody. You guys are all awesome, so thanks for supporting Seat Time. Anything else, Steven? No? Well, then, you guys remember, always enjoy a pint full of awesome. If nothing else, $10 a pint. No, this was a fifth of Canadian Hunter. Comes in a plastic bottle. It'll do you right. It may not do me right in the morning, but it'll do me right now. Unlike my wife, because she's pregnant. All right. Thanks for paying attention, guys. Remember to always enjoy a fight full of awesome. We'll see you next Tuesday for our GNCC wrap-up show. Boosh.